Picture stumbling upon a town that looks like a fortress from a fantasy novel, a place where every street and building is planned for survival and beauty. From the sky, it looks as if a star has descended onto the earth, each point designed to protect, inspire, and endure. This is Palma Nova, a small town in Italy whose structure is as striking as its purpose. But why would a town be shaped like a star? Built in 1593 by the Venetian Republic, Palma Nova wasn't just crafted for aesthetic appeal. It was engineered for survival. At a time when Europe was engulfed in conflict, the Star Fortress's configuration served as a cutting-edge defensive strategy against invaders, blending innovation with functionality. Its layout wasn't simply artistic, it was an architectural weapon. Over 400 years later, could this ancient fortress hold the key to solving modern urban crises like overcrowding, traffic congestion, and sustainability? The answer might be hiding in plain sight. As our cities grow larger and denser, the lessons embedded in this architectural marvel may be more relevant than ever. What was once a defensive strategy could now be a lifeline for sustainable growth. What can we learn from this ancient fortress to help solve the problems of tomorrow? Let's find out. The 16th century was a battleground, with rival empires locked in a relentless struggle for dominance. The Venetians, one of the major forces in the region, sought to protect their territory from invaders like the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburgs. In response, they engineered Palma Nova, a fortress designed to defend itself from every angle. The architects, Giulio Savognan and Vincenzo Scamozzi, faced the challenge of a changing battlefield. Traditional city defenses like tall walls were no longer effective against gunpowder and artillery. Instead, they turned to geometry to establish an innovative defense system. Palma Nova's star design wasn't just eye-catching, it was a revolutionary leap in military engineering. The bastions, like towering sentinels, created overlapping zones of defense, allowing soldiers to fend off enemies from every direction. Each bastion was angled with precision to trap attackers in a deadly crossfire, making the Venetian stronghold nearly impenetrable. To further complicate any siege attempts, the Venetians dug a wide moat around the settlement, adding an extra layer of defense. Beyond its military advantages, Palma Nova's radial layout was a triumph of Renaissance planning, blending symmetry, balance, and functionality. Like spokes of a giant wheel, the streets radiated from the central piazza, allowing soldiers and citizens to move swiftly and seamlessly, whether for defense or daily life. The central piazza pulsed as the heart of the town, a vibrant focal point for social and cultural life. It became a gathering place for markets, festivals, and political events, reinforcing the piazza as the beating heart of civic life. The Venetians believed that an orderly city could shape an orderly society, where architecture reflected the ideals of civility and progress. Palma Nova embodied this belief, demonstrating how design could influence social harmony and collective identity. Yet, even the most forward-thinking blueprints have their challenges, and the fortified town was no exception. While this Renaissance masterpiece's layout was a marvel of military engineering, it had one glaring flaw: isolation. Positioned 20 kilometers from larger settlements like Udine and Monfalcone, this remote location initially seemed like an advantage, keeping it away from prying eyes. But over time, this isolation became a liability. Without access to major trade routes, the lifeblood of any thriving settlement, Palma Nova struggled to grow economically. Merchants naturally gravitated towards bustling towns with established economies, leaving Palma Nova cut off from commercial activity. The town's rigid geometric layout, though perfect for defense, felt sterile and unyielding. It lacked the organic growth that often breathes life into cities. To boost residency, the Venetians even offered incentives, such as pardons for criminals, but despite these efforts, the population remained sparse. Palma Nova's star-shaped design is unique, but how does it compare to other metropolis layouts today? Urban planning typically favors one of four major types: grid patterns, organic growth, radial designs, or linear layouts. New York City's iconic grid system makes navigation simple, but it also leads to severe traffic bottlenecks. In 2023, New York ranked as having the worst traffic in the US, with commuters losing 102 hours annually to congestion. This layout also wastes space especially in outer areas. Rome's organic layout adds charm, but also logistical nightmares. Its narrow streets cause 38% congestion during rush hours, delaying transportation and emergency services. Paris's radial design focuses resources at the center, but it amplifies social inequalities, with wealth concentrated in central areas. Brasilia's linear design streamlines transportation, but causes severe highway congestion, with traffic funneled through one main route. Palmanova's star-shaped design offers lessons that could be adapted to address the weaknesses of these other layouts. By decentralizing services and creating a more balanced flow of traffic, it could mitigate the downsides of grid congestion, organic inefficiency, radial inequality, and linear overload. Now, imagine walking through a city where lush green parks, bustling markets, and futuristic transit systems all converge in vibrant hubs. These hubs, much like Palmanova's star points, radiate life and energy, decentralizing the city's flow. One way to adapt the star design is by creating mobility hubs in key urban centers. These centers could act as focal points for transportation services and public spaces. Cities struggling with traffic congestion, such as Los Angeles or Bangkok, could benefit from decentralizing transit systems through transport centers. For instance, Los Angeles is already implementing mobility hubs, like those being piloted across the city, to disperse traffic more evenly and offer multimodal transit options. Instead of one overburdened downtown, several interconnected centers could handle transportation needs, reducing congestion and allowing for smoother transit. In Bangkok, where public transportation is expanding but still lags behind demand, transit nodes like those being piloted in Los Angeles could turn overburdened intersections into vibrant spaces for transit, green areas, and commerce. These hubs could offer green spaces, access to shared mobility centers, and market spaces, echoing Palmanova's original Central Piazza blueprint. To further improve sustainability, these mobility hubs could integrate green roofs, solar panels, and water recycling systems, transforming them into self-sufficient urban oases. By combining transportation with sustainability, cities could not only reduce congestion, but also lower their carbon footprint. For cities facing urban sprawl, Palmanova's radial design could serve as a blueprint for urban expansion or new district developments. Instead of relying on grid-based suburban sprawl, cities can structure star-shaped suburban areas with small focal points at the center of each district. These hubs would provide schools, healthcare, businesses, and transportation options, all connected by radial streets that extend from the city center. Cities like Brasilia and Curitiba could apply this model to new satellite towns. Curitiba, already recognized for its innovative public transportation system, could expand upon its success by designing new districts with decentralized star-shaped nexus, reducing congestion and offering a more walkable, compact alternative to traditional suburbs. These hubs could be mixed-use, blending residential, commercial, and green spaces, reducing car dependency and offering more services within walking distance. By decentralizing services into multiple focal points, this layout would also address common suburban issues like reliance on cars, lengthy commutes, and environmental degradation due to urban sprawl. A radial design inspired by Palmanova would ensure that each suburban center becomes self-sustaining, with access to key amenities, reducing the need for residents to commute long distances to key areas. Another practical application of Palmanova's configuration could be to decentralize resources in cities that are becoming increasingly overcrowded. For example, Tokyo and Mumbai are two cities facing severe pressure from rapid population growth, leading to a concentration of services and resources in the city center. Palmanova's design, with its evenly distributed bastions, could inspire the creation of satellite hubs that provide essential services like healthcare, education, and government offices, preventing the overwhelming demand for resources in the city center. In Tokyo, establishing new, smaller hubs on the outskirts of the city could alleviate overcrowding in districts like Shibuya and Shinjuku. By following Palmanova's concept of multiple centers of activity, Tokyo could spread its population more evenly and reduce strain on public transportation systems. With over 14 million residents packed into 23 wards, Tokyo's population density exceeds 6,000 people per square kilometer, placing enormous strain on its infrastructure. During peak hours, its train stations handle over 8 million daily passengers. Similarly, Mumbai's Dharavi slum alone is home to nearly 1 million people living within just 2.1 square kilometers. Access to clean water and sanitation remains scarce, while the central districts are buckling under the demand for public services. Star-shaped satellite centers could provide decentralized infrastructure, offering more equitable access to public services for residents in underdeveloped areas. This would also help reduce the burden on Mumbai's central districts, which are currently overtaxed by the population influx. Pulmonova wasn't just built to last. It was a blueprint for the future. Its star-shaped layout blended beauty with functionality, standing as a reminder that urban centers aren't just places to live, they reflect the values, priorities, and innovations of the societies that build them. As modern cities grow and evolve, planners are increasingly looking to historical designs, like this star-shaped city, for insights into creating more resilient, livable, and balanced environments. What if the cities of the future could harness the fortress town's brilliance? Could a design born over 400 years ago be the solution to our most pressing challenges? The answer might shape the very future of how we live, move, and thrive. Comment below with your ideas.